podcast is a quest for well-being, a quest for a meaningful life through the exploration of fundamental truth. Enlightening ideas, insights on physical, mental, and spiritual health. The inspiration is love. The aspiration is to awaken new ways of thinking that can lead us to a new way of being well. Welcome to Body, Mind, and Soul Healing Conversations.
Do you wonder, will I ever meet someone to marry and have a family? Do you find that you easily meet people for dating, but you have difficulty finding the right person who wants what you do out of life? Do you find yourself staying in exclusive relationships way too long that don't lead to marriage? Valeria Teles interviews Coach Amy, who works with marriage-minded individuals who are ready to take charge of their dating efforts and learn a system of how to meet people who share their values so they can meet the right one and have the family life they desire. Amy's story is one of perseverance. She was divorced in her mid-30s and wondered, just like you do, will I ever meet someone to marry? After working with a relationship coach, she met her husband and remarried at 42. Unfortunately, they struggled with infertility until giving birth to her son at the age of 48, after exploring all her options to bring a child into her family. Coach Amy can help you to increase the opportunity for a love connection with the right one, based upon shared key relationship values to find lasting, true love. She provides a way for you to remind yourself of all the wonderful attributes you have to offer to a loving relationship, so you won't lose hope while you're looking for that special person. Also, to create a targeted, effective dating plan so you can finally find your true love and live life doing what you truly love. To become more self-assured so you feel attractive to others, and to save precious time by learning how to evaluate a potential partner quickly and accurately so you don't spend time in a relationship going nowhere, or eliminate an appropriate mate. Since 2004, Amy Schoen specializes in helping seriously searching and marriage-minded individuals create and nurture lifelong relationships and build the family lives they so desire. As a certified professional life coach, Amy combines her whole life coaching, her incredible life experiences, and her gift for visualization to help her clients, many of whom have struggled to find love, connect with the right one to form fulfilling, committed relationships that align with their values and life goals, especially when it comes to having a family life. Her proprietary Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets coaching program enables people to discover what they truly want and need, and then guides them into finding love without changing who they are. Amy has helped her clients experience exceptional results through online dating and takes pride in saving them the precious time and energy it really requires to find a perfect match. Plus, Amy knows firsthand just how important it is to create a happy, lasting relationship and a satisfying family life. Realizing the importance of perseverance during the journey to a life filled with love, family, and fulfillment, Amy feels fortunate to be helping others to create their ideal lives. To read Amy's full biography, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. Here is the interview with Amy Schoen.
In your own words, who is Amy Schoen?
Well, I think I'm a very heartfelt person. I think I'm somebody who really cares about other people, a nurturer. I've become a coach because I love helping people. And my life purpose is to help other people move from struggle into ease. And I love the transformation that I see from my clients when I help them. And not only my clients, I'm this way with my friends and my family and everybody I come into contact with. I see my purpose is to help people get them where they want to go and make their lives a smoother path.
That is wonderful. How did you find out your purpose?
Well, I'm a coactive coach, and we have a life purpose exercise, and actually it didn't come up the first time. So I did the exercise when I was being trained as a coach. And then I actually assisted with a group who were learning to become coaches. I had the benefit of having a master coach kind of work with me. I said I was not sure, and she kind of worked through some things, and she really kind of simplified it to this point. And I'm like, aha, that's it. And so it's a real gift, actually. So that's how I discovered it, is there is a life purpose exercise that I do with my clients to get them clearer on their life purpose.
That is interesting. Yeah, it's a method, right? You call it exercise.
It is a method. It is a series of visualizations that we take our clients through, and then we debrief them, and then we try to find the intersections between these little vignettes. And then we construct this. Actually, there's a two-step process. It's really to say, I'm the dancer that moves people from struggle to ease. So there's a metaphor that we like to use to really lock in that visualization, to lock in that what it is. That's our purpose.
Wow, the dance. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and I love dancing. So.
Yeah, what a great thing for the body and the mind, everything actually. It seems like dancing, music, it brings everything that's positive out of us, or expose something that needs to be exposed, which is great too. I have a few general questions for you before I begin asking you questions about relationship coaching. What is another word for life?
Well, I mean, what comes up for me is like vida, life. Life is really embracing what you have, appreciating what you have. We can get down and say we don't have this and we don't have that. And the worst thing is to compare yourself against somebody else, because you don't know what's really going on in their life, in their shoes. Things can look really nice on the outside, but life is really kind of, I think, taking advantage of, like, I love movement, and I love to be able to move. So I can move and I want to move. I can speak and I want to speak. I can sing and I want to sing. I can hear. Thank God I can hear, and I want to listen. So you're really utilizing all your senses and really making the most of what we're given.
I love that, Amy. I'm wondering, how can we dance with these two elements, that being grateful for what we have and the desire to change, to have a better life, to dream? How can we balance those two?
Right, because it's interesting when you read about the people who've succeeded and they said they had a dream. And I was reading something recently, one of the moguls who's done well, and he says, to really go after your dreams. And we stop ourselves. I know I always kind of work through those struggles and those why can't I, or why don't I, or I can't. So yeah, so to be grateful is fine, but I think they can coexist. I think, to live a grateful life and then also say, I really see a need, or I want to help here, or I want to do this, or some people have to kind of go with where their heart is and where the mind is going. My company name is Heart Mind Connection. And that's because I feel like you do need to have a connection between the brain and the heart. And that's when there's a good balance between that. That's when things work. So I think they can coexist. I think you have to start from, if you're an unhappy person. So some people are motivated by unhappiness, and other people are motivated by purpose and inspiration. So it really depends on what.
Right. It makes so much sense. Yeah, we can be grateful and also work toward change at the same time. What does the word freedom mean to you?
It's interesting as a coach, I do a lot of values clarifications and I really kind of work around that. And it comes up a lot with my clients. So, freedom is one of those words that can be morphed into so many different directions. For me, freedom is the ability to work and do the work that I want to do, the way I want to do it, when I want to do it. It's not having to be free from individuals. I mean, I have a family, I'm married, and I have a child. And I always feel like sometimes I wish I could just get up and do what I want to do. But, I have responsibilities. Freedom is financial freedom, is to be able to have enough money so you don't have to worry. So some people put the freedom around finances. Freedom, free activity, to be able to move and be active and to be able to, I love to ski and I dance and I have biked and I've had some physical setbacks. So that to me is, to be able to move is freedom.
I love the way you simplify. Yeah, you're just finding like this deep meaning in small things. They look small, but they're huge, actually. Life, you said, being grateful for life, just to be alive. And also freedom, meaning even the ability to move.
Because I've been flat on my back. I've not been able to move. So to me, that's the opposite of freedom.
So in a way, this is how important it is to go through challenges in life, to face challenges, so we know what it's like. And we can appreciate life more and also teach others to appreciate what they have more. What is your greatest joy?
Well, my greatest joy is actually, and he's also one of my greatest challenges, is my son. Yeah, I had him at 48. He was a project. It took me 5 years for me to find a way to have my child. I can't speak to the details, but we had to use technology to actually have a child kind of grow in my body and to birth a child and to see him grow and develop. And this child is now almost 12 and he's taller than me and he talks back to me. I mean, I laugh, he thinks he's making my life miserable. And yet I sit there and say, isn't this amazing?
I love how, yeah, it's not just positive. You have a lot of wisdom. That's what it is. To say something like that, facing challenges, and then you say, how amazing is this? You ask a question instead. What is the world's greatest need, in your opinion?
I think for us to really care about each other and love each other and get beyond our differences. And right now, the world is very divisive, and there are forces trying to divide us up and for us to hate each other. And I live in America. I mean, this podcast may be going beyond America. I was an exchange student. I lived abroad with a Danish family. I've traveled the world. I've not traveled a lot. I mean, I'd love to travel more. However, I embrace people wherever I meet them. And there's such wonderful people wherever you go. I've had the luck to have a Yugoslavia exchange student live in my house. The woman who helped me helped me with my son, she was from Uruguay. I mean, there's no reason to have fear and there's no reason to hate. So the world needs a little bit more kindness.
Yeah, love and kindness. I have two questions for you on that. What is your definition of love? What is love?
I glanced a little bit on your website.
Right, so I ask these questions. Right?
Love. There's this self-love. There's a really embracing who you are and accepting who you are, and then there's loving another person, whether it could be your best friend or your parent, a parent or a child, or love is maybe going beyond yourself sometimes. I mean, you look at the who is loved, who is really given of themselves in this world and has kind of sacrificed themselves. I think it's really hard. I mean, to be that courageous. We need to take care of our families. So there's loving my child, no matter what he says to me. There's loving my husband on days when, I mean, there are times when you don't feel that you're being loved the way you want to be loved because the demands of life are pulling at you. And so there's kind of, there's different kinds of love. There's the love of a parent. I still have a mother and I care deeply for her. We are like oil and water sometimes and we butt heads. And yet I know she cares about me, would do anything for me.
Yeah. So being able to see through the challenges, yeah, see the love and feel the love beyond difficulties and conflicts.
Exactly. And love is expressed in different ways. And if you're knowledgeable about the love languages, different ways. And we need love to be expressed in a way that makes us feel loved. And a lot of times I think divorce happens. And I know I'm in my second marriage. So my first marriage, I think, occurred because I was not really speaking his love languages. He didn't feel loved and he kind of drifted away. I was busy doing my own thing and didn't see it. And it was too late when I eventually it happened. So to really understand how people feel loved and to try and express love in a way that's going to be meaningful for them. And some people need to express and hear it. Some people need to show by acts of service. Some people, and this is Gary Chapman's work. So the 5 love languages. So what is love? Love is different things to different people, and different people have different expectations. So it's a very difficult question to answer.
Yeah, I like that, Amy. So we have different ways of giving and receiving love. It makes sense to me. So, guys, the question that comes to mind is about self-love. Do you believe that we can only love others if we love ourselves first?
Yes and no. I think it's a healthier love if you love yourself first, because then you're not going to somebody because you're asking of them and you're feeling depleted and you're feeling like something needs to be filled in. The yes is, I think, again, somebody who doesn't have that self-love thinks they're loving and giving their love. They're giving their attention, they're giving their time. So in their mind, they think they're loving, so yes, it is love. It's better when you feel more self-confident and you feel more grounded on who you are and what do you have to offer to a relationship. And then you can determine whether or not this is going to work or not, and you're going to get your needs met. So sometimes it's an unbalanced situation where somebody is giving and giving to a relationship and they're not really getting back.
Interesting. I think it's the first time I hear the answer yes and no for the self-love. It depends. That's the first time.
That's usually my answer.
Wow. You made me think now about these perspectives. Do you believe in God?
I believe in a higher power. I'm Jewish, and I've been raised in the Jewish faith. And so I do believe there's a God and a higher power. I think that everybody has to, I'm kind of one of these, let whatever you believe is fine for me. I mean, we all have, it's a very personal thing and a self thing. Of course, we're always challenged in that belief, especially in difficult times. But I have to say I've been very fortunate. I seem to always bounce back. I think, having faith in God gives us a little strength, a sense of community.
I agree. Do you see a difference between spirituality and religion?
Yeah, I think spirituality is a personal thing, and believing in a higher power and a God. And I have this conversation a lot with my clients because everybody's different. Religion is how you practice it. Are you going to a church or a synagogue or a mosque or something else? How are you practicing your religion if you want to be practicing it? It's a personal decision. And I know some people say, I am spiritual, I'm not religious. And I have other people say I'm very religious, and I know that they belong to a community and they go and they show up and they really embrace their community. And they get a lot more out of the practice because it is done, we know, like anything, with accountability and regularity, it just solidifies and deepens our understanding.
So in a way, either way, like you said earlier, faith, it's important, or it's important to believe in something. It doesn't matter if it's spiritual, religion.
And there's no judgment. Yeah. I mean, if somebody's agnostic, that's their choice. So, again, I'm a live and let live kind of person.
Right, right. And I actually like even better what you said earlier about separation. So whatever we believe in, if that's not causing separation, creating that state idea of separation, then it's okay. Let me change the subject to going back to the subject of relationship coaching. Talk to me about critical relationship values. What are they?
Those are your values that are really important to be in relationship with someone. So when I work with my clients, one of the first things I do is called the values clarification exercise, where I ask them a series of questions and we pull out their values. It could be, what's fulfilling for you? Okay. And then they may talk about something that's fulfilling. And then we really figure out what the value is for that person. Let's say an example is to be passionate in their work. Okay. That's a work value. Now, you may not have to share that with your husband. What you do need is that person respect it and appreciate you for it and support you in that, right? However, there are values that you're going to pull out. And a lot of them, when you go to the, like, what drives you crazy question, a lot of things like rude people drive me crazy, right? Or people who are late or whatever. Those tend to be people values and they tend to be relationship values. And those are the ones we need to focus on, because those are the ones you need to have in common with the person, especially if you're looking for a partner and a mate. So in the work I do, I help people who are seriously searching for love to find their true love partners. That's one of the things I try to do, is to really have them look at. And what I find is when people are looking at the wrong things sometimes. And so one of my values is a work value. I call myself an independent, creative, and entrepreneur. You may be one. And it's like I like to do my books and my courses, and I had a podcast at one time. So, creative and create things out of nothing, right? But my husband is nothing like a creative independent entrepreneur. So, but he supports me in it, and I think he appreciates me for it, and he does respect me for it. So, I mean, he's like, I don't know how you do what you do, because I could do it. That's what we need from our partners is that piece. But if you look at your friends, you will probably see that you share a lot of the same relationship values as well. So there is, I've kind of delineated between the personal values and the relationship values. And that seems to be helping my clients really hone in and focus on those people who they can recognize people as being the right one sooner than later.
I have actually a phrase that you wrote here. But before that, let me ask you a question that came to mind. What is the difference between values and beliefs? Are they the same in a way?
That's a tough one. That's semantics. Beliefs are what you believe to be true. And values are the things that we walk around and matter most to us. What really, for instance, reciprocal relationships are very important for me. And if I'm going to be friends with someone, I want to see that if I put the effort out, they're going to put an effort back. Or if I put effort into any relationship, I want to, so that's a really important value. Okay. My belief, well, I believe people should be reciprocal.
Oh, should, right.
Yeah. My belief is it should be like, people can't always be reciprocal, right? A lot of times it depends on the circumstances. So, I do try to look beyond things, and I do give people the benefit of the doubt. But if things start happening over and over again, then I see a pattern pattern, and then I'm like, have to make a decision. A belief can be true or not. I think a value is true for you, and a belief is something that may or may not be holding you back. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, and I really would have to think more on that one.
Yeah, it seems to me like they come together. It might be the same thing because we act upon our beliefs. So it might be similar. So peace, you wrote, I help clients to feel at peace with their life choices so they will have no regrets about how they are spending their time, energy, and resources to achieve their life goals. So I have 3 questions. The first one is, what is the definition of peace? How is peace different from calm? And how do you help others to feel peaceful?
Well, when people learn my process, they have something to check in with themselves. And so a lot of times we second guess ourselves. One of the coaching classes I took was on assumptions. And as people, we are wrong we make assumptions about a lot of things, and I know I have, and we're wrong over 50% of the time. So,
Wow, that much?
yes, yes.
Wow.
So we have to check in with our assumptions. Okay, that's the first thing. So how do we feel? So the question was, I should write this down.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should ask one at a
That's
time.
okay. No. The peace
All
part.
right.
So the process is, I help them really like set boundaries for themselves and know what's going to work and what's not going to work for them. And I also help them feel like not everyone's going to be the right person. And it's okay if it doesn't work out because there's a reason. And the reason can be timing's wrong, right person, or it can be the wrong person and it's never going to be right. And so when you go through the values and my must-haves and some of the other things I do with my clients, they're able to really get a good picture. Is this going to be someone who's going to fit in my life? Is this someone who wants, what I want and is going to go in the same direction and is going to honor what's important for me? There's kind of like this instantaneous, like it's amazing, but my clients connect within 3 to 6 days with their life partners. And this has like been happening time and time again. I get the conversation like, I met this person, she's great. Or I met this guy and he's wonderful. Like I not quite ready, I'm pinching myself to see if this is really real. And then, it just because they're so aligned, it just flows into the right direction. It's amazing to see. And many of the clients, unless they have external issues that they need to work out, and so there are things that do affect a relationship that's external. Many of my clients say, I'm good. I don't need coaching anymore.
Yeah.
Unless they really like the life coaching. And I do have some clients who are in some, what I call almost not quite relationships, and we're not sure the direction. And so, I'm still working with them to help them get to that level. Now, not all my clients are motivated to marry. Some are looking for committed, healthy relationships. And I have a lot of clients who are baby boomers who are, they're not marrying or marrying that quickly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one of my questions later on. Yeah, I like the way you go back to self-knowledge. It seems like we need to know ourselves, our values first in order to find that person that we are looking for.
Our goals are number one, because if you're going in different directions, if you want different things, like I was dating in my late 30s, early 40s, and I wanted to get married and have a family. Well, I met guys who had families already, and they didn't want any more children. And the man I met before I met my husband, we dated for 3 months, and I found out he didn't want any more children. And I had to make a tough decision. The goals, and I've seen that with my clients, I've seen it with some of my friends, that their goals were not aligned and the relationships didn't last.
Oh, wow. Also, that perhaps goals, they are connected to values pretty much, very much, right, Emmy?
Well, a goal you want to, so if having a family is important and being a mother is one of your, and you have a value around maybe, yeah, they can be connected. But I think a goal is, we set goals as, especially Americans, we're taught to like set goals. And like I was very motivated to marry and have a family. That was like my goal. And I was working towards that end. And of course, I wanted to meet a man who shared that, who wanted also a family, and so maybe valued having a family. So, yes, they are related, and also shared my key relationship values. So I felt like the relationship would last, that it would be given the best chance of success.
True. Do they change the values that you had 10 years ago? Did they change throughout the years?
I think values can morph a little bit. I think what was important, I think as we grow and we develop, we may kind of lose a value and gain a value, but I really do think our values are pretty constant. I mean, if I look at my values, and I have my values done over 15 years ago, most of them still hold true.
So yeah, they don't change that much. Probably what is the word you used? Key values, core values don't change.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are things, and we're not always living our values fully. So, like, I have a value about being organized and on top of things, and I would say that value is not being lived as fully as I really would love it to be. Because life is so crazy.
Yeah.
And with a child and business and everything like that.
Oh, yes. What is the difference between life choices and life decisions?
I think they're related, because you are choosing. When you make a choice, you're making a choice, and then it moves you in a direction, and you're making a decision to move in that direction. So I believe that that's kind of related.
Yeah, it might be one thing. When you say having no regrets, does it mean accepting what happened, how it happened?
Well, I think that's kind of a phrase we use, that you don't want to look back and be regretful that you didn't do something that you may wish you had done, or that you kind of say, I lived a well-lived life, and I did what I wanted to do mostly, and gave it my best, and gave it my all. Given my talents and skills. Now, everybody is got different skill sets, and some people come from families that have more money than other families. So, I mean, in America, we say if you put your mind to it, you can achieve. Yet we do know that those people who have been given better opportunities and been going to better schools do have better long-term, like, job opportunities and things like that. So, making the most of what you have.
Yeah, I love that idea of living the life we're supposed to be living, that we believe we deserve. So we have no regrets, right? Living it now. So I have a few questions about the quiz that you have on your website. Are you ready to meet your maid quiz? So I have a few questions here. What are the dating to relationship stages?
There are different stages that you have to go through before, you're ready to put yourself out there. And some people are coming out of other relationships, or you're, been divorced, or you've been widowed, or something like that. So there are these stages that you have to go through. And so I've kind of broken it, down on my quiz, on my Are You Ready to Meet Your Mate quiz.
Right. Do you want to reveal some of them, maybe 2 stages or?
Sure. I'm like, in my mind, is this trying to remember? I didn't pull it up, I haven't looked at it recently. Well, a stage is that you're ready to put yourself out there, that you are, you have that self-knowledge, and you've done the work, and that you are really trying to meet somebody. and put yourself out there, and you're trying. I create something called a dating plan for my clients that incorporates both online and face-to-face opportunities based on someone's personality, values, interests, and passion. And so that's one stage. The other stage is when you're out there and you're actually dating, and trying to evaluate people as being the one. And then another stage would be when you decide, okay, I really like this person. I'm going to give it a chance and see where it goes.
Yeah. Wow. I've thought about two things here. One is there such a thing as love at first sight? Just loving somebody immediately and making that decision?
Have you been on my Facebook
No,
page?
not
No, I'm kidding. There's a whole discussion going on about that. Some people do think so. I think it really depends on your personality. There are people who are jump in. There are different kinds of personalities out there. I'm not going to go into that whole analysis. But there are people who love, like, oh, you're cute, I like you, and they jump right in, and then they got to figure out whether it's going to work or not. And then there are people who are a little bit more reserved, and they're like, okay, I don't know you, and I need to get to know you, and let's take some time to get to know each other. So they may like somebody, but they're going to hold reservation until they get more information. So I think a lot depends on the personality of the person. So there are people out there, and there's a lot of people who are saying, yes, love at first sight. And I've seen it with my friends. I've seen it with some of my clients. I think men are very visual, and they know what they like. And so they tend to go after what they like visually first, and hopefully the person. And I do a lot around online dating. So, the pictures and things like that. So they do read the profiles to make sure that person matches up to what their expectations are. So it is the head and heart thing.
Yeah, I like that. There's I think a song, so many songs written about that everyone deserves or needs somebody to love. Do you think that this is really the case? That everyone needs somebody to love or to be loved?
Well, I'm kind of one of those romantics that, if you want to be, not everyone is meant to be in relationship or has the desire. And so not everyone's motivated to connect, let's just say. But for those who are, and I had a gentleman that, this was a rare case. There's a man I met in his 40s. He started coaching with me, and he really wanted to be married. And at first he wanted to marry and have a family. And I coached him, and then he kind of stopped coaching, and then he came back to me. And in the end, we worked together, and he finally met his wife, but he was in his mid-50s. At that time, he met a single mom who had practically grown daughters. And you know what? He decided that was good. He was happy with that. And she's ideal for him. She appreciates him. And you know what? There is a lid for every pot, as the Jewish saying is. And he didn't give up. He came back, and we still continue. We coached, and I sent him to other people, and I said, do this and do that. And then he came back, and most of my clients are with me a year to 2 years max, but that was rare. But that's an example where if you want it and you really, that's a goal of yours, you can have it.
How is wanting to find true love different from being truly ready to find that special person? This is one of your questions.
So you can want to find that person. And I've seen people I want to meet somebody, but I don't feel that they're ready to meet someone. And you need space in your life for somebody to come into your life. So there are many examples of that. And you're too busy, you're working, you're taking, care of everybody else. you've got a health issue, maybe you really don't have time to. So somebody wants your time and attention, and you have to be open and ready to give that person your time and your attention and your space in your life. And as a life coach, and that's what I am first, I look at what somebody has in their life, and how does dating fit into their whole life? And sometimes we need to rebalance. I mean, I had a young woman who came to me, actually, she was in her late 30s. Her job was really demanding and toxic. She dropped out of the coaching. 3 years later, she comes back to me, kid you not. And then she was ready. And she said, I wished I could have helped her as a life coach, but she did it on her own. And she says, now I'm ready. I got out of that job situation. I'm in a much better place. I feel better. Took care of my health. I did yoga, whatever she did to help herself. And she says, now I'm ready. And we worked together, and she did meet her husband. So you have to be, you have to put the time and the energy into it. So there are things and steps that I try to take my clients to see whether or not they're truly ready for a relationship.
And I love how you look for the big picture. It's not just one department in our lives, but you look at everything.
And a lot of people who are in this field are not really looking at the big picture. And that's what needs really sometimes the adjustment. I like to call myself a chiropractor for somebody's life. It's like I go to one, they adjust my back. It just a couple of little tweaks makes a big difference. Yeah, most of my clients are really cool together people.
What are the signs that we can trust when it comes to true love? How do we know?
It's funny. I always think back to now the Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
The Frozen movie. Yeah, when he bamboozled her. We have to be careful, right? Oh, there's a flow. And, I think, you do have to spend time with people to really get to know them. And, people can present themselves one way. Yes. So, I mean, yes, love at first sight, but I think you have to be a little older, a little bit more wiser, a little bit know yourself, and be a little smart to see through things. Because I kind of was bamboozled through my first marriage. Okay. I mean, he was really good at that. So we don't want to have happen what happened to, whatever her name is. Anyway,
Right.
Elsie, I think I don't know if that was the sister or the whatever. So yeah, you have to really, there's a flow. I know with my husband, it's not hard. It shouldn't be hard. You kind of finish each other's sentences. You feel like that person gets you, they have your back. And you just really enjoy being with that person and spending time with them. I mean, one of my male clients recently met someone, and he goes, I just smile. I'm just so happy, and I really look forward to seeing her.
That sounds like a good sign. Yeah, looking forward to spending time with somebody. Yeah. How long do you think we should wait before marrying someone? Is there a time frame that's appropriate?
Well, I do have time frames in my course. However, it depends on your age and your stage of life. The whole motivated to marry thing is based upon, I was 41 when I met my husband, and we were engaged within 6 months and married within the year. And so I was married at 42. Okay. But yet we wanted to have a family. So there was a whole bunch of us who were like in our late 30s, early 40s, who were motivated to marry and have a family. However, with my younger clients, I had a woman, she was 34, and she met this guy, and it went really well. And she just coached with me for like 6 months. And then she says, I'm good. And I'm like, good. And then he was on my email list, and she was on my email list. And then he took his name off my email list. And it was a year later. Okay. And I, of course, contacted my client. I said, so do you have something to tell me? And she said, yes, I just got engaged. So, I would love people to hang out, like if you're like early 30s, if you could be together at least a year or two, just to go through the seasons and get to know each other and spend time with it. That's, my nephew got married at 33 and they were together for 2 years and I gave him my blessing. Yeah. And then, I have clients in their 60s and they've been together for 4 years and they never married. So, and that's their choice and their reasons for that. And then so it really depends. Once the kid thing is out of the picture, it really is up to each individual what's the right timing.
Do you recommend or do you advise living together before marriage or not really?
I think it's a personal decision. I think today people want to know what they're getting themselves into, and it may be a good idea. But I think it's living together with a plan.
With a plan, right.
Yeah, like you're not going to be doing this indefinitely. If you are motivated to marry, if that's your end goal, if you don't care, I mean, the hardship is like I got this one woman come to me, and she was in her late 40s, and she said, I lived with this guy, and he was divorced with kids and the dog, and and she was with him for 4 or 5 years, and it didn't work out, and then she's left with nothing, and it's just heartbreaking to me. So I think you have to really kind of set some boundaries for yourself and know what you really want.
I like that. Yeah, just going back to self-knowledge, knowing your values, like you said, and just trusting that and being.
And marriage is not for everybody. I mean, I have people in my family who've never been married. I mean, I have a nephew, they've been together for over 20 years and they've been never married. And you know what? They're happy. And they've set up a life. They live together. They have a house together. I mean, and they have a common law marriage, in my opinion. But, for one reason or another, they just have never gotten that piece of paper.
Talk to me about online dating. Do you recommend that? And what is a good online dating strategy?
Well, I do recommend it because over 80% of my successfully coupled clients met through online dating.
Wow.
So you think but they've gone through my process. So again, taking them through the values work, getting clear about what they need to have in a relationship to be happy, being really intentional about their goals. And also, I believe what you put out is what you attract. So what I do for my clients is I edit their profiles. I don't write their profiles for them unless they are really not good writers, because I want it to come from their voice. And I'm really good at helping them see things and put things in that I say, this is a really important thing about you volunteer for this organization. Someone's going to really appreciate that about you. And one of my clients volunteered for a charity, and he was very involved because his mother passed away from this disease. And this woman recognized this about him, and they connected, and now they're together, and they're very happy together. So again, I really believe, of course you will need to put decent pictures out and current pictures. You don't want any surprises. Just treat people how you want to be treated. My belief is if somebody's got an issue with it, then let them move on. The right person will appreciate, you and want to get to know you.
Right. Do you think that today online dating is actually more popular than offline dating?
Well, 30% of all marriages come from, or connections come from online dating. So the top 3 ways to meet people are through other people, through your friends and connections. That's still important. Through what your activities and what you do and how you spend your time, and then online dating. So I try to cover all points with my clients. And a large percentage do meet through online dating. I tend to work with a lot of introverted people. Some extroverts, the extroverts like myself, I worked with a coach when I turned 40 because I was running around in circles and nothing was working for me. And I'm very, I say, okay, what am I doing that's not working? But the extroverted people don't have problems going out and meeting people. We have problems recognizing the right people. And I almost miss my husband, actually. So, yeah. So if it wasn't for my coach, I don't think I would be married to my husband.
Yeah, how interesting. I have a few more questions for you, Amy, about relationship before we begin asking my final questions, the last section. Do you think that men are more afraid of marriage than women?
No, not necessarily. I think a lot depends on your past experiences and what's happened in your life, and if you've been divorced, and how you've been divorced. And so I think, people are, especially if you've gone through a divorce, um, you have to heal those wounds, and you have to really kind of figure out what you need, and then be ready to move forward. So some people go through that process fairly quickly, and some people take a long time. And I had a friend who was divorced the same time I was, and this was in the mid 90s, and he just got married recently. And I've been married for 18 years now. I mean, so it's like, what took you so long?
Right.
But it took him so long. He had a daughter he was raising, and a lot of people don't date until the kids go off to college.
What are the three main components for lasting love or lasting relationship?
I think respect is one. You really have to respect somebody and show respect every day. I think appreciation, to express appreciation, is really important. So that person thinks that you, just the littlest things they do, thank you for picking up dinner. I really appreciate it. It really helped me out. I mean, it may seem silly. It's like, well, yeah, but they didn't have to. I think when we don't feel appreciated, we start kind of, I think, it goes back to what your shared values are. Those things are really the glue that connect us. And our values connect us to each other. So I would have to think hard on that. Nothing is coming up very quickly for me.
Respect, appreciation. Is there another component that you think of that's critical?
Well, it's really broad, and there's a lot to learn, and I blog profusely on my website, so check out motivatedtomarry.com. Relationships take work, and relationships take effort, and when you do the work, it's joyous work, and you will benefit from it. And I know how I have benefited from it in this process, and I just appreciate being able to share it with those who are open to learning more about how to be better in relationship.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
That I'm not perfect. No, that I disappoint people sometimes, and I don't like to disappoint people, but I can only do what I can do. Given the environment right now, there's not much I could do right now to change my life. No, I think it's just preparing my loved ones so that they're not going to be impacted.
Do you believe in life after death?
I hope so. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's a hope. What are three things about life you know for sure as of now, Amy?
The people that are in my life that I love are here today. I think the internet's here to stay.
Yeah. That's funny that you said that.
I don't know.
That's cute. Can you please give us that information again? Where can we find more information about you, your books?
So motivatedtomarry.com is my main website. I have a Facebook group, Motivated to Marry Singles. But if you get on my email list, I send out a weekly newsletter, and I have blog posts and things like that. And I still have podcasts out there, Motivated to Marry podcasts. And it's not current, but great information. And the quiz, if you want to take the quiz, it's at mtmquiz.com. So hopefully you'll put it on my little bio area.
Yes, I'll have the link there.
Yeah,
definitely.
have the link there so they can find it. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the great conversation, your presence. It has been fun.
Yes,
Thank you,
thanks.
Amy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon, Amy. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening. To learn more about Amy Schoen, please visit her website, motivatedtomarry.com. And to take the free quiz, Are You Ready to Meet Your Mate? Please visit mtmquiz.com.
To learn more about this podcast, please visit fitforjoy.org/podcast. I want to thank the Patreon members, Lawrence McGrath, Mark Basden, Terry Clayton, and Aidan Vickrock. Thank you again for listening, and bye for now.